Vlog Friday. Yeah, little beat up. Hair's a little messed up, and I definitely had a fever. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, but I actually feel pretty spectacular today. So apparently, you can sweat out a cold. Camera tweak. I said the other day that I was trying natural profile because I like to bake in the image so I don't have to color correct it or anything. Are you kidding me? I get 5 fake phone calls a day now, maybe more. That was one. On the upshot, I have a Colorado number and I live in LA, so it's really obvious when I get a fake phone call. So that, I guess that's a plus. Camera tweak. I tried neutral like everybody else does, and then I tried standard, and I realized I like standard more because standard is a little bit more red. It looks more like Canon. Canon is known for like incredible color, and they tend to favor red stuff. They tend to boost the red, which is not natural, but it's also it's pretty. So I'm doing that. I'm doing standard with some adjustments, so I don't look like a ghost. This is what it looks like in standard with a couple things adjusted. If I were to do natural, I would look completely pale. I'd look like a shade darker than my shirt. So, pink lips. Did I write? Yeah, I worked on my rewrite a little bit. I'm rewriting 2 things. I will be rewriting a third, but I have a half hour pilot that I've been meaning to rewrite from the workshop, and then I also have a feature film that I need to rewrite that I'm concerned with because it takes a huge amount of time to rewrite a feature. So, yeah. On the upshot, the pilot should be, as you know, my brain just isn't in it right now. I realize it's because I'm burned out. I thought it was because all my focus was on my thesis film that we're in post on, but it's actually that I'm burned out because of everything, and that happens. So struggle through the burnout. That's the plan. Yeah. Did I read? Yes. Only I'm not a reader. I should be. Actually reading Industry Reader pays a pretty decent amount because it pays per script. So that's a hustle I do want to get back into. I did that for a while, and I would like to get back into it because it keeps you sharp, but it keeps you sort of relevant in what's selling and stuff. Yeah, but also it pays, and reading is relatively easy when it's a script. Oh, my body's betraying me today. I also read scripts for my workshop. No comment. What did I watch? I watched a lot of stuff this week. I saw Ready Player One in the maximum way. I saw it in IMAX 3D. Yeah, I mean, the nerd stuff, I felt like it was more pop culture trivia than true nerd stuff, but you know, who am I to judge? And it was a satisfying story. I saw The Strangers Pray at Night, the sequel to The Strangers, and I thought The Strangers was quite good. The Strangers Pray at Night was, I don't know, it made me curious the whole time because everything was in the dark, and so I was trying to figure out how they did that, where every single time there's always half the screen is in shadow somehow, and usually something appears in the shadow or something. I don't know. It's really interesting how they shoot it. It was especially good in the original Strangers movie, but as an actual movie, I don't know. A lot left to be desired. I watched Barry, which is that new Bill Hader hitman comedy on HBO, and I really like it. It's a really fun character idea. Silicon Valley, I'm caught up. there's not much to say about that. I'm a huge fan of Silicon Valley. I've written 3 specs of Silicon Valley. I won't be writing a 4th because that's silly that I wrote 3, but I'm a big fan of Silicon Valley. TJ Miller left, not in disgrace, but in sort of like a mean way last season. And I don't think he's missed, honestly. So there's that. Because I was sick yesterday, I just watched stuff I knew was going to take forever, didn't have to think about. So I rewatched all of. I've been going back through Love since I was so charmed by season 3. So I did that, but I also watched this show I found like a year ago, and it was on Funny or Die originally, and it's Ben Schwartz and Lauren. I forget her last name, but it's a completely improvised show called The Earliest Show. So it's a early morning like fluff news report show, and the entire thing is them just improvising because they're both master improvisers, and it is incredible. It's so funny, and they have an hour-long sort of outtakes reel too. So they had 6 episodes, 6 like 12-minute episodes, plus an hour-long outtakes reel. And it's really interesting because they're so good at the improvising that it's confusing because sort of the pacing is weird, like the tempo of everything is just weird because it's all improvised, so there's no sort of internal structure really. But it's so funny and so fast, and every joke is a surprise. It's really lovely, and I watched all of it. And my brain is now The Earliest Show. I also found, when BuzzFeed fired a bunch of people, not BuzzFeed, they did too though, Cracked.com fired a bunch of writers. One of them that I really liked, who had this segment called Some News. It was Cody Johnson, the comedian, and he would basically rant about news headlines, mostly presidential stuff, because, you know, low-hanging fruit. But I figured out he did start his own channel independently, and it's called like News or something, and it's exactly the same as Some News. I don't know why, but it seems like a parody of itself. I think it's because he doesn't have the same level of editing and production value that the one that Cracked was paying for did. Because the writing is really good, but for some reason it seems like a worse version. Which is to say, still, it's very good. I really like Cody Johnson. I think he's a brilliant writer, and I like the show. So, all that negative stuff, and it ends with I like the show. My brain is crappy. I think that's why I'm a little chatty. Writing tip: listen more than talk. So the opposite of what I'm doing. This is specifically in the context of getting notes or being in a workshop. You don't want to be in a situation where you're defending something or where you're having to explain something. You want clarity and people drawing their own conclusions, and sort of people are the ones that should be revealing the story to you. This is especially true. I've had a few workshops, not recently, where they would actually make you, if you turned in material, you wouldn't be able to say anything. You would just have to listen. You'd be forced to listen as everybody talked about your project, and it was really revealing because you don't intervene. You don't mess with the scientific method at all. You don't inject yourself. I think there's a happy medium there. I really like the extreme version of just not being able to talk when you're up, but you know, the world is not that way. So listen, just listen, because even if they went the wrong way with the idea or completely misunderstood something, it's your responsibility to figure out what they misunderstood and make it understood on the page. Specifically, not by you having to inject yourself. This is getting redundant. Listen, just listen. Box office. I'm just not very good at the box office, apparently. So last week I said Ready Player One, Acrimony, Black Panther, Pacific Rim, and I Can Only Imagine, which is the God movie. And I was wrong. I got Ready Player One, Acrimony, and Black Panther, and then I Can Only Imagine beat out Pacific Rim, so both of those are wrong. 3 out of 5. This week, it looks like cool stuff is coming out because A Quiet Place is coming out, which is John Krasinski directed it, and it's him and his wife. It's a horror movie. It looks terrifying and smart. Also, Blockers is out, which is that comedy about the parents not letting the girls lose their virginity. So I think it's going to be A Quiet Place, Ready Player One again, Blockers, Acrimony, and Black Panther. That's what I think. Closing thoughts. I don't know. My brain hurts.